Have you ever had to share? Of course, right? How do you feel about sharing? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Yeah, sometimes it's a little easier than other times, right? Sharing your toys, sharing your time, but sharing your food? My husband remembers when he was in high school, his favorite thing was to buy French fries. And he would eat them like this, because people were always trying to steal them from him. My husband's still working on sharing. I have a book about sharing for you, and I've read it before, but I think it's worth a reread. It's called The Doorbell Rang by Pat Hutchins. And Jacob, I happen to remember that you are planning on being a carpenter, and I'm thinking you're probably really good at math, so you might help us out a little bit with this. I've made some cookies for tea, said Ma. Good, said Victoria and Sam. We're starving. Share them between yourselves, said Ma. I made plenty. That's 6 each, said Sam and Victoria. How many cookies? 6 each, said Sam and Victoria. 6 and 6, how much would that be? Yeah, okay, hold that number 12, because we're coming up, it's gonna get tougher. They look as good as Grandma's, said Victoria. They smell as good as Grandma's, said Sam. No one makes cookies like Grandma, said Ma, as the doorbell rang. It was Tom and Hannah from next door. Come in, said Ma. You can share the cookies. How many people? 6. Sam, Victoria, Tom, and Hannah. And how many cookies? 6. 6 each. So we decided there were 12 cookies.
3.
Ah. That's 3 each, said Sam and Victoria. They smell as good as your grandma's, said Tom. And look as good, said Hannah. No one makes cookies like Grandma, said Ma, as the doorbell rang. It was Peter and his little brother. Come in, said Ma. You can share the cookies. Sam, Victoria, Hannah, Tom, Peter and his little brother. How many kids do we have now? 6. How many cookies are they each going to get? It's okay, Marcel, you can answer. 2 cookies each. So far, so good, right? That's 2 each, said Victoria and Sam. They look as good as your grandma's, said Peter, and smell as good. Nobody makes cookies like Grandma, said Ma, as the doorbell rang. It was Joy and Simon with their 4 cousins. Come in, said Ma. You can share the cookies. All right, all you math whizzes. How many kids do we have in the house now?
Too many.
12. How many cookies each?
1.
Come in, you can share the cookies. That's 1 each, said Sam and Victoria. They smell as good as your grandma's, said Joy. And look as good, said Simon. No one makes cookies like Grandma, said Ma, as the doorbell rang. Decisions. What would you do?
Don't answer it.
Don't answer it. Gobble it up fast, right? You've got a decision to make. We all have a decision to make. And rang. What do you do? You just went from abundance, 4 each, 6 each, down to 1 and more people coming. What do you do? Make more cookies. Absolutely. Well, thank goodness. Oh dear, said Ma as the children stared at the cookies on their plates. Perhaps you'd better eat them before we open the door. We'll wait, said Sam. Aw, don't we all love Sam? What a good Christian boy. It was Grandma with an enormous tray of cookies. How nice to have so many friends to share them with, said Grandma. It's a good thing I made a lot. So there was a decision to be made, right? And no one makes cookies like Grandma, said Ma as the doorbell rang. We have decisions to make. We have that opportunity to share from our abundance and sometimes to share from our not abundance. The kids in this story were really good at sharing. We hope to be inspired by them. There's a story in the Bible about sharing food as well. You might remember it. At one gathering of people who came to hear Jesus speak and see him heal, there were over 5,000 people. That's a lot of cookies. Jesus knew the people were hungry and needed to be fed. The disciples didn't have enough food or money to buy food to feed all those people. Jesus told them to collect what they had, and he had a plan. Jesus always has a plan. The disciples found 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Is that enough for 5,000 people? What would they have to do? 1 crumb each, right, Jacob? Good job. They would have to share the food. And Jesus prayed over the food and blessed it and divided it among baskets to share with everyone. And you know what? It turned out there was enough food for everyone, plus leftovers. Baskets and baskets of leftovers. This story shows us that when we share what God has given us, there will be enough for everyone. God is very good at providing what we need when we need it. Let's close in prayer. God of all things, thank you for providing us with so many blessings we are able to share with others. Bless our hearts and minds to see the needs around us and respond with generosity as we share with others. Amen.